The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 60-minute time limit. Making their way down the aisle, Carlos, Mark, Nick, and Remy, the Entrance Ramp Podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Entrance Ramp Podcast. I am your host, Nick Vega, alongside my co-host, Carlos Rodriguez.
Hey.
Mark Lindsay.
I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
And Remy.
Me too.
This is a rapid-fire rundown of this week's events in wrestling today. We are jumping right into Monday Night Raw. I would like to bring up the point of Drew McIntyre dropping Brock Lesnar 3 times in a row. 2 kip-ups. Gentlemen, how do we feel about that? Carlos?
So, I liked it. I thought it was really good. I like that. I always said this before. I also said it off air before we started recording. I love that he just hits that move out of nowhere. Because he's so powerful, it's such an impactful move, but also hitting it out of nowhere reminds me similar to like Shawn Michaels hitting the Sweet Chin Music out of nowhere.
Yeah, I love moves that can come from anywhere and anything.
I like the build up. Don't get me wrong, like the whole 3, 2, 1, and then doing it, or coming like getting that full steam. But when he just like, I feel like he's standing and then he just hits it.
Yeah, his personality is oozing out of him, even into his moves. Like to me, I don't know about the rest of you guys, but to me, it's just confidence and preparation. Like he is prepared for this moment for a very long time, and you can see he's taking full advantage of it. Mark, how do you feel about him dropping Brock Lesnar and making Lesnar look vulnerable for the first time in a long time?
Well, I really like the idea. It's getting him over. He's already over. I discussed also off air. I'll say it here. Now it's time to see what Brock is going to do to respond. You have still Elimination Chamber this Sunday. You have a few weeks until WrestleMania, and your challenger took out the champion, and now we have to see how the champion responds. And I like a good back and forth. I want to see Lesnar take out McIntyre this week on Raw, and just have it go back and forth. And then not only will you be building the match, but you'll also question, well, who are they going to put over? There's an old adage that back in the 80s and 90s that when the week before a big show, whoever went over their opponent was probably going to take the loss on the pay-per-view. So now that you have McIntyre taking out Lesnar, I want to see how it transpires on Monday.
So, Remy, I'll pose this question to you. Shayna Baszler seems like the favorite coming into Elimination Chamber. What do you think will happen for her to win? Do you think I have this little theory, and you can, I'll take you on this little journey real quick. Tell me that Becky Lynch isn't obsessed with Shayna Baszler, and tell me that Becky Lynch wouldn't help Shayna Baszler win that match just so she could fight her.
I mean, I think this is a really interesting theory because I agree with you on the former. I mean, she's already there at ringside, in costume, commenting, as you've got like Shayna Baszler on the show. So as far as Elimination Chamber goes, that's a really tricky one. That's a toss-up because, does Shayna Baszler really need Becky Lynch's help to, punch her ticket?
Well, if she's getting ganged up on, 3-on-1, she's the most dangerous woman, and she's probably the focal point, and she's got the most enemies out of anybody in there. And I could see it being a situation where it's like a 2-on-1, 3-on-1, and Becky Lynch is like, you know what? I'm coming to clean house. I want you. I don't care about the rest of them. I want you.
That's a possibility.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, because we all kind of want the 4 horsewomen against each other, and I'm always kind of concerned how they interact with those two.
So I agree. I think they'll I think she'll help her. I honestly do. Yep. So we'll jump right into Randy Orton. Randy Orton is doing the best work of his career right now.
He really is.
And he RKO'd Beth Phoenix
out of nowhere.
Do we?
No, actually not.
Do we think that Edge will show up next week?
Yeah, no, it's confirmed.
Oh,
it was confirmed last night.
Check that.
I think on WWE Twitter.
So yeah, I are we seeing fireworks or is Randy hiding? Carlos?
Oh, I think we're seeing fireworks. I think he's gonna get his hands on him some way, shape, or form, or Randy's not gonna come out. Some freaking jobber is gonna come out, like some low card member, like some back. It's gonna be Riddick Moss. So we feel better about him beating Ricochet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
But it's like he's gonna come out. He's gonna eat a spear. Someone's gonna eat a spear, and like it was execution. We'll do. He'll bring that back.
I'll answer the question. I don't think there should be any contact between RKO and Edge. I see something like Edge coming to the ring, giving a heated promo, and then having Randy Orton at home, live via satellite, okay? And then continuing the storyline that way. But there should be no physical contact between these two until WrestleMania. You need to build that up.
What would you guys say about like what could diminish this program leading up to WrestleMania?
If they just stick their foot in their mouths and continuously get into altercations, like Mark said, I agree. I would touch, base on the last week, like emphasize that brawl, have the whole locker room separate them because they want to hurt each other so bad. Remy, go ahead.
I mean, well, I'm interested in addressing what Carlos was saying because between this and Drew McIntyre, like Raw has so many lightning in a bottle, like just feuds, storylines going into WrestleMania right now that they would have to go out of their way to screw them up, which I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. But it's either the way that I look at these two is I see Randy and Edge. I can't imagine these guys being in the same building and Edge not wanting to take like a massive piece out of him. So,
See, I give a prediction for this Monday Night on Raw. Edge is going to come out. He's going to say something along the lines of, you know what? I could accept that you tried to take me out because your reasoning made sense. But the second you laid your hands on Beth, it's on.
Well, I brought up my question only because I was thinking, like, you remember when who went to whose home? Was it Triple H went to Randy Orton's home?
Yeah.
I was thinking, what if Randy shows up at Edge's home? Like, how terrible would that be?
I mean, like I said, Uncle Randy, like
dude, it's only been done once, I think.
No, and Austin and Pillman.
That's what I was gonna say. Once really well, and that was Austin and Pillman. Because that gun thing, I remember watching. I was like, "What the hell?" As a kid, I was freaking out. I thought he really shot him. I really did. I was like, I saw a man die twice in my life now.
As crazy as he is, he probably did just at his feet. So we'll jump right into the new tag team champions, the Street Profits. They beat Buddy Murphy, known as Murphy now because we take names away.
Did you see his tights?
Who?
Murphy.
Yeah,
I saw him because I follow
what's
what's the name? I follow Sasha Banks'
the all black tights
husband.
they
Yeah.
had?
No, but they say Disciple on the side. They say Disciple Murphy. I was like, oh, that's subtle. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that is. I mean, riding Seth's coattails, but
That's the whole point.
do what you do. Anywho, Street Profits new tag team champions. Do we see them feuding with AOP, or do we see them feuding with Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins going into WrestleMania? Remy.
Who? Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins or AOP?
I will also say Kevin Owens was the one that cost them the matchup, so I kind of feel like Seth Rollins is going to face Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I want to see them go after the straight edge society. If I want to see them go after, Rollins and Murphy. I think that Rollins. First and foremost, I'm glad he was the one to eat the pin. That's how you do these things and do them well. And I think between Rollins and Owens, it's probably personal now. They have something going in, and AOP can. If they choose to go that route, they can still keep Street Profits kind of wrapped up in all of this by proxy.
Well, I've just been informed by Statboy that this Sunday we're going to be having Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins versus the Street Profits.
Look at that!
But
yeah.
we'll talk about predictions later in the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks with that match being announced. I'm assuming it's just that's gonna be the blow off. Street Profits will win this one. Just my 2 cents before we get to it later.
Yeah, that's
but
where I'm going to. I got ahead of myself with the AOP, but
yeah, I think that's will set up a storyline for that. All right, and it's so close to WrestleMania, and there's no big storylines. I'm assuming we're gonna get like some kind of tag team big match, kind of like similar when the Hardys came back.
Oh God, please be a TLC.
Oh, that'd be awesome, actually, especially with Montez Ford.
I hate that the Money in the Bank isn't at WrestleMania anymore. It used to be one of the premier matches because you could just stuff everyone in there.
I hate that there's not 2 Money in the Bank matches at the pay-per-view for each
I
brand.
want to just chime in there and think that, yes, this match seems to be total blow-off between Rollins and Murphy taking on the Street Profits, but I think they've been trying to find a way to shift the titles to Authors of Pain, and, the Street Profits are a decent team. I don't think they're going to be some temporary champions. But if they are, it makes sense because you got to get those belts over to Authors of Pain.
Yeah, I think they need to build up some kind of legitimacy because they had them before, but it didn't feel right then. Their storyline's been botched many times before since coming to Raw. I think ever since teaming up with Seth, I think they built a better storyline. They're still the same characters. They're still doing everything the same. It just feels better about this current run where they're at.
Yeah, I think the Street Profits will go through WrestleMania and still be champions. I'm be honest, they're very entertaining. Like way ahead of myself. I really see them being Vince seems to enjoy their talent, and Montez Ford and Dawkins, they just two of a kind.
And they're a great underdog team. Like you're really pulling for them because you kind of think at any given time they can either win or lose, and that's a great thing for tag team wrestling.
Yeah, definitely is. So I think the last subject we're going to talk about, for a quick second, is kind of feeling like the burial of Ricochet and Aleister Black. And I mean, more so Ricochet than Aleister Black, because Aleister Black lost to AJ Styles this week. But in the manner that he lost, he's an afterthought to The Undertaker, and understandably so. But that wasn't the thought even last Monday when this match was originally announced. That was the feeling we were going to get. We felt like this was going to go into WrestleMania season, having a rival between AJ Styles and Aleister Black. So how do we feel, gentlemen? Are they buried? Especially Ricochet. Is he done?
We keep hearing that Paul Heyman really likes Ricochet, and that Carlos sent us that rumored. I hate rumors. I hate internet rumors about the way that things were supposed to go at Super Showdown. With that said, we all know Ricochet is so good, and he should not be treated like this. I don't think Vince McMahon knows that. So at this point, I just want him to go back to NXT, be used properly, maybe go back to NXT as a heel because he's pissed off at how he's being used. But that's my take on it. This is really sad to watch. But I had no problem getting Riddick Moss over either because, you got to build up your young talent. I just wish that maybe if the burial by Brock Lesnar didn't happen, I would have been much better with this result this past week.
I'm always interested in these things as I'm also looking at the way they sort of did, Aleister Black dirty and all of this. And unrelated, but, related in principle. I'm okay with having these kinds of massive burials if you take it and you twist it into a storyline. Like next week, Riddick is unbelievably embarrassed. He's infuriated by this loss, and he goes after Riddick Moss. And now you've got something more coming out of this. Or, it's like you have Aleister Black, being ganged up on, by by the OC, and
The OC.
don't do this. And the next week, it comes around and now Aleister Black, he's got a blood feud with these guys, but you don't get this kind of consistency. So you just have people that lose their credibility in the process.
Would you guys be opposed? At least Aleister lost to them. He went through a gauntlet basically with the OC and then AJ.
He lost to AJ, who's a top star.
Yeah,
Right,
Aleister
right.
looks better in his defeat than Ricochet ever did.
No, I definitely stated that it was more of a burial for Ricochet than it was for Aleister Black.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I just didn't like the fact that he's such an afterthought now to the Undertaker AJ Styles feud, where as a week ago he was viewed as maybe the opponent for AJ Styles, and that just elevated his stock.
Would you be opposed to having Aleister get quote unquote the torch passed to him by the torch of darkness or something something like that? Undertaker's hey, you're the new dark guy now.
That would be good storytelling.
Yeah,
that
right.
Would plant a seed now, and you have Undertaker. Maybe next time you have OC 3-on-1, and Undertaker saves
right
Aleister.
Before. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then it's almost at the end, it's a passing of the torch. You're hey, you're the new dark guy now. Here you go.
That would be great.
Yeah, I guess any rub from the Undertaker would be good for Aleister Black. So now we're gonna hop over to NXT. We're gonna review what's been going on down there in Full Sail University.
We know NXT is losing the ratings battle to AEW, and we were given 2 steel cage matches this past week, both of which had fantastic endings, and that's coming from somebody who's seen a lot of cage matches in his lifetime. We're going to start with Velveteen Dream taking on Roderick Strong. And the finish of that match was a huge angle. They're clearly setting up Velveteen Dream for Adam Cole at TakeOver in Tampa. And the end of the match saw Velveteen Dream allow Roderick Strong to escape the cage, where he locked himself in with an interfering Adam Cole, and he went to town on Adam Cole. I just thought that was great. So, Carlos, what do you think about finally elevating Velveteen Dream to that NXT World Title status?
I like it. I've said for a while I wanted him in this status. I kind of want him in NXT just for a little bit longer, just to get a little more seasoning in to say before he gets to the main roster. Again, John Cena has picked him basically in multiple interviews as the guy to watch out for. In
24,
the future.
right?
He's 24.
24, yeah. Leave him down there for 2 more years. 26 comes up to SmackDown. Because Fox would love someone like him, a character. Oh,
he's great on the mic. He's a great character. He has a great moveset.
Yeah, great finishing
he's
move.
Healthy.
And he's totally homegrown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Not,
he's the perfect WWE superstar.
Yeah.
He really is. And that's why I was saying for Cena about a year or two ago to be like, this is the guy everyone needs to watch out.
I wouldn't be surprised if 3 years down the line Cena fought him at Mania.
Yeah.
Or 4 years,
or something, yeah.
Give him
in one way, shape, or form, just give him the rub.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely not. I think this is great. And I also think I like the switch. You're assuming that Dream wants Roderick. It's like, no. This was to bait you in. I want that belt. I want this championship.
Do you really? I don't believe that. I mean, I think he just saw the opportunity and was like, you know what? I'm done with this feud. I've already beaten Roderick Strong.
That's a good thing about his character, that he plays mind games.
Yeah.
And he's really good at it. That I see him going I didn't want this. I didn't want you, really. I wanted him. I knew I could bait you in.
I could see that. But I just think he saw the opportunity, too. Because, how was he going to know that Adam Cole was going to be in the cage? That a little far-fetched, but...
Yeah, that's fair. But, hey, you smell smoke. Fire.
Yeah.
So, Undisputed Era is going to come in at one point.
Oh, definitely.
They're like rabid dogs.
Definitely.
Well, hey, listen... I just think that, I'm sorry, you caught me off guard there. I was looking up my next topic, and I have a little time here. So I apologize. I was a little off guard there. I think Nick saw that and is busting my balls. He's like, I'm going to get this guy, and we're going to record it. And now
you might as well scat your way through the rest of this.
Skip-it-up-bop-ba-doop-doop.
Oh, there goes the bell.
There we go. We got it.
Saved by the Bell.
Just
And,
like Ashley
one of my
Simpson.
favorite TV shows growing up was Saved by the Bell. As I was looking for my next topic, go ahead, Nick, was the second steel cage match of that show between Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. Another fantastic finish to the steel cage match, one that I've never seen before, where Tegan Nox had the match clearly won. Dakota Kai in trouble on the mat. Trying to crawl out through the open cage door. And what's Rodriguez? Is it, what was it?
Raquel? I think it's Raquel.
Raquel.
I think she's been rebranded as Raquel.
Raquel,
yeah.
okay. Raquel.
No, I think it's Raquel.
Well,
Rodriguez.
just Murphy. So, here we go. Right, yeah. So Raquel holds the cage door with Tegan Nox trapped between the door and the cage, allowing Dakota Kai to stumble out the cage door opening. Fantastic finish, fantastic match. Guys, does this lead to a number one contendership after this whole Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley match? Does this lead to a top contendership match between these two? Nick?
No. Not between those two.
Damn.
I think I think Dakota Kai is going to face probably someone like Bianca Belair, because she's still very heavily in the title picture, and or maybe a 3-way. I could definitely see a 3-way. I could definitely see a 3-way match.
Yeah, I could. Well, don't forget, we have, there's a big old number one contendership coming up at NXT Tampa for all the women's. There's a tournament going on right now to gain your entrance. Chelsea Green won her match against Shotzi Blackheart this past Wednesday with the I'm Prettier, not the Unprettier, which I love the name change for that move. But I think we'll get something similar. I think we'll get another blowover match. Like Tegan will win her match against whoever to get into that contendership. Dakota will win her match, and then they'll have another thing. Like like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
They should just do a fatal 4-way. Like what happened to Io Shirai? Whatever happened to her?
She'll be in that number one contendership as well.
I
She's
would-
been pissed off lately.
I would love to see her a fatal 4-way between Io Shirai, Dakota Kai. Let me get that. Tegan Knox and who am I missing here?
Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was the fourth one. There you go.
Yeah, I forget how many women are going to be in this match, but yeah, that's everything's leading to Tampa, where there's like whoever wins this big match is the number one contendership for whoever wins Rhea Ripley and Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Well, the women's division definitely is strong in NXT, as is the tag team division and, of course, the world title division. So NXT is doing a lot of things right, and that kind of brings me to my final point, and it's basically a generic one, where NXT is on Wednesday nights against one of our favorite promotions, AEW. They're doing decent numbers. They're getting an ad revenue share, but they're constantly losing the battle to AEW. And my generic question to you guys is, would they be better going to a different night? Would they be better maybe taking NXT out of Full Sail University, taking it on tour to get a larger viewing audience in, because we were programmed to watch NXT on the network, and then it went to USA, and now we went from a show with minimal commercials to commercials quite frequently. What are your thoughts, Nick?
I think they should go on the road. I mean, they've been on the road before. I remember they came to Philadelphia when Kevin Owens was still the champ. So Sasha Banks and Bayley and all them were still around, and they blew the house. The roof off the house. Like it was awesome. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start doing that more often, especially because USA will probably start backing them more with production. And I mean, it's not like they need it, but they'll get the assistance now.
Well, one of my, I guess, anti-points to that would be the fact that it is low cost. Full Sail is relatively cheap, and this is maybe a possibly profit for USA because they're not spending money on that stuff.
The only thing I want to interject real quick is WWE actually has a program with Full Sail. So all of the technicians, things like that, are actually students at Full Sail University. That's the only thing I could see being an issue is do they have is there a set in stone contract hey, till 2025 we have this deal where our students work for you and learn and they get internships, but some with WWE
they just renewed that deal
with Full Sail University
year. Yeah, but I don't know for how long. I think it's a year by year thing. I don't think it's a
it's a great opportunity in that sense. I think we're getting bogged down by the fan aspect of it.
So you guys have probably said more on sort of Mark's second point than I think I would have had the capacity to, but I want to backpedal to the first point, which is, would it be good to move NXT to a different night? And I would say yes, but no. Because absolutely, it would be better for the viewership of the product. It would be better for keeping eyes on it. It'd be better for keeping up with it. But that is the same in Vince McMahon's mind as conceding a loss.
Yes, he's not going to move it. I mean, I didn't catch that first question. I'm sorry, Mark, but
Payback's a bitch.
Yeah. Well, do you think WWE is worried about the viewership too? Because they're getting normally 200,000 under. I don't think so.
What is the number?
No.
I think AEW winning is important, but not necessarily that NXT is losing. I don't think NXT losing is worrisome for WWE. I think it's good that AEW is getting those numbers close to 1 million every Wednesday because they're starting off and they need those numbers. NXT doesn't necessarily need those numbers. They're backed by so many different things.
Quick vote. How many? Do you think Vince McMahon still views NXT as developmental? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do too. That's why he doesn't care. Because
I don't think Triple H sees it that way. I think he's been a really good job of selling it to Vince as a third brand.
Right, and I mean,
we see it as a third brand.
Right, they're probably getting enough money for him to be like whatever. But at the same point in time, I think he views it as a developmental brand, just because AEW is only doing a little bit better than those numbers. It's not like they're blowing them out of the water.
I will concede that Vince McMahon sees it as the clear number 3 brand, but I will not concede that he thinks it's a developmental brand. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Triple H could have convinced him. I mean, this is Triple H's baby, and we always said it's really cool to see him giving back to the business finally.
I disagree. It's all good. That's what we're here for, is to disagree and agree. So we will go ahead and jump around to AEW, who had a spectacular pay-per-view on Saturday. We will recap all that and this week's episode. I'll send it over to my man, Remy.
All right. Well, because the approach that I was going into here is like, I think that and anybody can like kind of look over the card online and like see what the results were and like what the recap is. So I'm kind of interested in all of this, which, as you said, it was a great pay-per-view. I don't think it delivered in the matches in which it was supposed to deliver, but it was all the little sleeper matches that really, really, really pulled the card together. I would say, going in, like, you're the man with the mic right now. What was your match of the night? And we'll just kind of take it around.
Well, the match of the night for me is probably the match of the night for everyone here, is the tag team match. That tag team match was A1 day one. Like, that tippy top of tag team wrestling, and it wasn't to the point where, I'm so upset about the AEW referees who either get in the way or don't get in the way. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that match.
Well, Carlos, Nick, and I watched it together, and I can't tell you how many oohs and ahs and oh shits we had during that match.
It's a 5-star classic.
Yeah, it was a great match, and I think what was really clever about it was that you didn't always have the opponents kicking out of the other's finishing maneuver. You had the partner saving them, which is huge, because I think in this world of wrestling in 2020, there's too many people kicking out of finishing maneuvers, but you had the partner saving them, which I think is acceptable. That's okay. You're relying on your partner to get you out versus kicking out at the last second every single time.
Yeah, I was looking. It's funny to like take this as an aside, but it's like I'm looking at just TV matches from the 90s. In promotions, you had like WWE, well WWF back then, WCW, and it's like, if you ate the finisher in a match, you were either going to do one of two things. You were going to get pinned clean, or you were going to hopefully maybe weasel your leg over to the rope, roll in, any other number of things, but finishers were finishers. Finishers should be finishers. Like, you shouldn't. It should be a very special case to like not get pinned or lose by a finisher.
Yeah, I think just to jump on Mark's point, yeah, we were oohing and awing, and that was a brutal match as well. There was so much physicality going on, not just high spots, not just like crazy, flippy stuff. It was brutal to watch at times. Like, Matt Jackson went crazy at one point. There was great storytelling when Matt Jackson, like, Nick actually stopping him, and you see Matt shaking it, like his hand shaking. He's like, "What am I doing?" Like, going too far against Kenny, not against Paige, where like there's like some some pissed off
animosity.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I could not figure that word out. I need more coffee. No, but yeah, there was all these like moments in the match that were sheer brilliance in storytelling. I thought it was amazing to do. Meltzer gave it 6 stars. So everyone has 5-star matches now, technically, now in the Elite, including Paige. Not that it matters.
You give him 6 stars?
I think so.
Meltzer's on the payroll.
Yeah, he 100% is.
Yeah, he's the anti-cornet.
I mean, yeah, this we don't have to say too much about the relation of the Young Bucks with Dave Meltzer. So, per usual, and I don't think this is a bad thing actually. We roll around to Dynamite, and a lot of the big storylines in AEW revolve around Cody in some fashion or another. Whether it's Cody directly or whether it's something splitting off from what he's doing. And what we started hearing like 3 times in one night, so it's not coincidental, is we're looking at in AEW's kayfabe, like you kind of have, they're talking about paydays, like when you win a match,
you get paid more than a loser.
Yeah, and I mean obviously like we all know it's scripted, but we also know that that's still for some reason a real thing in the business.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if you won, you got paid a little bit more. Maybe not like a significant amount, but maybe not WWE because they're all under contract and it's set in stone. But maybe AEW because they had an article earlier on Bleacher Report about like them not be drug testing properly. Essentially, they don't have the same standards as WWE. So pro wrestling might be treated a little differently under AEW.
Well, to loop back around to that, I don't mind if somebody fails a piss test for weed. You know.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, Samoa Joe.
Yeah, you're in the wrong promotion.
Oh, we've been saying that for a while. That Samoa Joe's in the wrong promotion.
I need to pull that up.
Right.
Stat boy, get on it.
Go get on it. No, yeah, I think we had multiple things. Yeah, Cody, his segment was let's say his main segment with Jake the Snake was really good.
Yeah, I want to get around to that.
Jake,
So-
yeah.
So that's this thing. Cody's tattoo. I mean, Cody. Cody finds himself in these storylines that are so good, but then once they end, they end. Go back to Sean Spears, chairman of the board. He gets blasted in the head with a chair. Has a great match with him last year, and then moves on to another feud. Has this great build-up. Takes the 10 lashes. Faces Wardlow in a cage. Has a what I would call a subpar. He didn't meet my expectations for the match, but still a good match nonetheless because the story was good. We were invested in the match. So even if it wasn't as good as we thought it would be, it was still acceptable. That okay. And having MJF win, you just immediately thought you're going to continue the storyline. And then we find out on Wednesday that it's not continuing. And I'm okay with Cody having these great segments, but let's have a little bit more. Like, wouldn't it have been great to see at least a tag team match where these two got their hands on each other again?
My thought process is that like every storyline that ends, like 10% of it carries over.
I definitely felt like it carried over in the sense of MJF mentioned it with his whole little "I pinned Cody" T-shirt.
Oh,
like
that's right.
he's gonna keep that
He mentioned
going
the
on.
neck
Yeah,
tattoo. Yeah.
he'll keep that going on for as long as possible. I don't feel like it was the blow off match. That's why we weren't satisfied because Cody got ahead of himself per usual.
Yeah, and I think their storylines build in a sense like this is their first year in the promotion where we're surprised with certain storylines in WWE that mention stuff like, oh, hey, Kane is The Undertaker's brother. Like, oh, cool, we've been keeping that for 20 years. That's nice. Same thing with Edge and Christian, you know? Like, some stuff builds on that, on previous stuff that we've seen before. And when WWE does it, it's awesome. I think we're in the first year of AEW, so that's why I think we're getting little bits of stuff. Like, the Sean Spears stuff does get mentioned every once in a while.
Well, he's looking for a tag team partner right now.
Yes, he is.
Fans are now applying.
Yeah, we can just apply as a group. Yeah, there you go, Mark. Yeah, you're the only one with
I could take
training.
a back bump, sure.
So, I guess moving on to the next thing. Are we timing this? Okay. I am. So Jake Roberts is in AEW, and this guy cut probably the best promo that he's done in decades, maybe since 90, 92, maybe 93. If we look at work that was done kind of between his WWF exit and his return. Just beyond a story perspective, which is I'm really excited to see who his client is. What do you think it means to have Jake Roberts in this promotion? Kind of what his backstage role might be, or as a trainer, or whatever he might add to this product. I mean,
Well, from a realistic perspective or a real life perspective, he's really close with DDP. DDP has helped clean him up, got him into the DDP yoga, and DDP, of course, is a big part of AEW with the coach, and he's good friends with Cody. So I think it could be good for him because he's going to have people nearby that care and will look after him. From a in-ring or story perspective, you have, again, I'm going to name drop, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Jake the Snake Roberts, 3 of the all-time greatest talkers in this business, 3 of the greatest promos in this business. And you're right, I think Jake he started off a little slow, he was missing a couple spots, but he picked up right away. And we all kind of know who it's going to be, with Luke Harper or Brody Lee or whatever you want to call him. With his contract or his 90-day no non-compete clause ending soon, it's most likely going to be him. So it's a great build because he didn't say he's going to introduce him next week. He just said when he comes. So if they build this out a little bit where Cody can come to the ring on Wednesday and say, where's he at? He's not here. Where's he at the next week? Where's he at? Not here. And then when boom, attack from the crowd, and you have a great match and a great angle.
My question is, because you're saying that it's going to be Brody Lee. A lot of people online think it might be Lance Archer. He was supposed to debut this past Wednesday, and it got pulled, not because of any creative stuff, but it just got pulled because it seems like they wanted to figure out a different angle for him to come in. So maybe Jake's doing Lance. Like Lance is going to be his client. I'm trying to think of any like his promos in New Japan, but they're not really known for their promos necessarily. Like if you have a good promo, that's great, but it's more the in-ring action that showcases on New Japan. So I wonder if Lance would be a good client as well. I don't think Matt Hardy. We have 3 people who haven't debuted yet who are been heavily rumored for AEW. So we have Brody Lee, Matt Hardy, and Lance Archer. Lance definitely has signed, and we just haven't seen him debut yet. So, I think it might be Lance. You're thinking it might be Brody. Mark, what do you think?
It'd be hilarious if it was both.
Damn, that works. Yeah.
He's only expecting one, and then both of them take him out.
That's a badass team too, man.
Yeah,
everyone's gonna die.
Yeah, it seems like AEW's very focused on the tag team division too, so I wouldn't be surprised. But I'd say Brody Lee. It makes the most sense. He's not a well-known talker, and Jake will start going better and better each week. I think he was so excited. Like when he got in the ring, he coughed in both his hands and touched the ring. And touched the ropes and, went down the line and was like, just thank God I'm back in the damn ring. And like he mentioned that in his promo, he deserved that moment. He worked his ass off to get to that moment.
Yeah, and I mean that's a moment that he hasn't really gotten for a while either, which I don't really know what to chalk it up to.
He didn't get a promo with that old school Raw. He just came in with the snake.
No, but there's history with him and John Moxley now, putting that snake over John Moxley.
There sure is. Yeah, no, I know. It's amazing some of the
red
things that
herring for later down the
they
line.
can build off of.
And they're not afraid to mention WWE.
No, yeah, which is that's another thing is they don't pretend that things don't exist or never happened. It's the lunatic fringe in his bowl cut. It's Chris Jericho. So you get nice bits of continuity there, and I think
mentioned the lunatic fringe too.
Yeah, he did. So what I'm looking at is we're months in to AEW, several pay-per-views at this point. We're I guess we could say we're on the second or third season, as you might call it. It's technically season 2 right now
For
I guess.
AEW.
Yeah,
season 2.
I think they're counting the beginning of the year as like a new start because that's when the records there's a 2020 record and then an overall AEW record. So I think that's the cutoff point is like January 1st, 2020. That's when the promotion started technically, and that's how everything's starting.
So. Yeah, with how far that they've come in terms of there's a lot of ongoing storylines right now, so they've gotten that up to scratch. I think there's a lot of I think the tag matches have gotten better, the production has gotten better. Like they've come a really long way in this time period. I mean, I guess what would you still improve at this point? Like, what's your one real nagging issue? And I'll start with you, Mark.
My only issue with AEW is this is sad to say, is JR. I am a big fan of Jim Ross. He has a great mind. He's my Gordon Soley, my announcer. When I was growing up, he was the best. He doesn't seem to have the same energy that he had in the past, and God bless him. He's gone through so much with his wife passing away. He has the several bouts with Bell's palsy. You can tell he wants to be there. He's having fun, and I love that. At the same token, it's almost because look at me with you guys. You guys are gamers. You guys are anime. You guys have a whole different perspective on things than I do, and I'm the JR of the group because I kind of just laugh it off and. See? So JR doing that stuff, like, I don't get this. I don't know why he's doing this. I don't understand the EC2 or whatever the hell it was. That's not helping build an audience. Meanwhile, Excalibur has really impressed me on the mic, and Shivani fits right in. Shivani's being what I thought JR was going to be, and he's kind of bringing in the old school, but he's adapted very well to the newer talent. And I think I want JR to elevate his game, and that's my one nagging issue. Having a 3-man booth with those 3 guys is fantastic when it works, but when it doesn't, it can get quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, I to jump on that. I like the 3-man group in my brain. It would have been only for dark matches. I would have put Golden Boy. I know, like I've talked about him before. Shout out, what's up, man? Watch the show. I sent it to you. Just gonna shoot my shot again on that one, and it's an air ball. No, but I think he's really good in the esports area. I think it would be cool. He's done it a couple times, and I was really impressed with him on the mic. I think it'd be cool if he did like Dark. If they would fly him out for Darks, if they do buy-ins more with him to build him up, and eventually that'd be a cool transition for him in AEW. But my 3-man I would put is JR. No, I'm sorry, not JR. Shivani, Excalibur, and Taz full time, all 3 of them. I know Taz used to get made fun of when he went to Impact. I know like some of his calling was like a little weird. I liked them on SmackDown. I liked them on ECW when he was like a little more calmer, a little tame, not going crazy. But that was like Vince in his ear being like, "Hey man, say this." I think this past weekend it was nice to hear him and like, oh, this is cool. This is good. Yeah, like you're good on the mic, and when you're subtle, like a subtle Taz is cool.
Yeah, I agree. Shivani, Taz, and Excalibur seems like the perfect 3-man team. But your original question was, what is the big problem I have with AEW? Or is it, yeah.
Refs for you?
It's the refs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're awful. They're
all
so,
Saturday you were complaining about it.
I'm gonna use my one PG-13 moment here. They're fucking awful. Because like they just, why should I stare at you and you're interfering in my match and I don't toss you out? I just acknowledge you've done something and then I turn my back on you. That makes no sense.
Well,
Like-
they keep chalking it up to referee's discretion, right?
What discretion? If I stab someone and the cop is standing there, he's like, "Oh, it wasn't that bad of a stab." You know, I'ma just, you cool, bro. What?
Yeah, I gotta jump in on that too, because it's like, you're watching like professional sport, and obviously we know that's not what this is.
But
But
you
it's
calling
like,
it pro? You call it pro wrestling? You call
Yeah.
it pro, like.
I mean,
We're
you
professionals.
look at like it is, when you're like watching a football game. I know you guys can all relate to that. This isn't my sport though. But still, you know that the referee there, it's not their job to have discretion. It's their job to enforce the rules. Like, they're not supposed to say like, "Oh, well, that's the call that I want to make."
Talk to the New Orleans
like-
Saints
Don't-
about discretion.
No, but seriously, like, it's not the ref's job to say like, "Oh, well, you know what? I have a lot invested in this, so I'm going to go ahead and say that wasn't outside the line." I don't want it to be outside the line, so it's not outside the line. It's like, it doesn't matter what you think or what you want the call to be. It matters that you saw it and you called it for what it was.
Yeah. I my foot's under the rope, but I'm gonna continue this 3 count.
Yeah, I think the only time recently with like to your point with the referees like and the anger
They've gotten better, but like
Aubrey during the main event at Revolution was good, and JR did a good point in being like, hey. Yeah, normally there's a 10 count. Like, she should be counting them out, or she should be stopping. But this is a title match, and we need this to be a win. Like, there can't be like no doubt about a win.
right. I could understand in that.
That was
in
different.
the confine of that match, but
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
A normal match?
overall,
No, it
it'd be
should-
like
yeah.
it'd be like a
Something
tag
should
team
be
match, and I'll
done.
see it.
It
and,
should be
like,
over.
It just doesn't make any sense. If we're not gonna follow any rules, then there's no point. Every match should be a tornado match, and then I'm cool with
Yeah.
it. Then I'll be like, whatever.
No, Aubrey did have the moment of the night. I'm assuming for Revolution when she kicked out Santana Ortiz.
Finally,
Man, she rolled it up. She like hyped that up.
yeah, it took her forever.
Yeah, it did.
I'm not normally a big fan of Ortiz's overselling, but when she kicked them out and he literally falls over, like he's been hit by a freaking tornado, it was incredible. So I guess final word on this, my 2, we can just stop it right here. Women's division, like, plain and simple.
It's getting better.
It's getting better. I don't really have anything much to say. I mean, I guess Big Swole's the next challenger. And
It was
Swole.
4 minutes on this on like
It was a bad
Wednesday's
match.
episode.
It was a bad match.
Yeah, it was a squash and it was
I
short, and then
watched
there's
it and-
nothing else.
Poor Leva Bates, just squashed like a fly with a book.
I mean, it's good to have
With a book.
it's good to have
Well, Remy, I
jobbers.
like that.
Don't get me wrong. Like, I like that they have jobbers in this promotion and that the jobbers are still characters.
Right. Because whatchamacallit, speaking of librarians, the Death Triangle called them out.
Yeah.
They were like, we don't care if you're the librarians, we're coming after you. And the poor bastard's going to stop having to read books in the back.
All right.
Avalon is gonna die. If
Yeah,
Pentagon
yeah.
gets his hands on him, poor Peter Avalon.
A little like
man.
John Moxley at the end of Dynamite.
Yeah, with the Shield triple powerbomb that we're watching.
Yeah, and just the big fuck yous at the end.
Yeah.
Or FUs, I'm sorry. I used my one PG-13.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah, we'll
don't
bleep it
ban me,
out.
Marymount.
You want to
All right,
transition?
yeah,
out?
we're gonna transition right over to Friday Night SmackDown.
Yay.
And I'll drop it on Carlos's lap and have him take over.
Alrighty. All right. So we opened up SmackDown with probably the worst moment of bliss that we have seen. It seemed like it was not scripted. We had Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross interview the NWO. And by the NWO, I don't mean Hogan, because no, there was a live crowd. That'd be terrible. No, we had Hall, Nash.
They
who's
mentioned
looking
him.
thin. No, yeah, Nash is looking pretty good. I don't know if did I share that photo with you guys where his recent transformation, like he has really bad knees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he like lost a lot of weight. So
Yeah, he
fixed
did
his
look
knees.
good.
Yeah,
He actually was the funniest person in this whole segment.
he always is. He's actually really charismatic, which is
He said, "Ha, he got you."
yeah. He got.
I was gonna say, just don't hold back, Nick.
No, he is like he's super hilarious.
And then we had Sean Waltman. Well, we had it was just, it seemed like the whole segment was just not scripted, which was in this case the worst thing that WWE could have done. They should have scripted this one weeks in advance. They should have.
This was a ratings grab.
They should, yeah. It definitely was. Especially, it was cool for the Buffalo crowd. I'm sure, like it was cool seeing,
Yeah.
like core members of the
They'll
NWO.
probably
And their Titantron was cool.
So this is the first I'm hearing about it because I didn't watch it last night. I
Yeah.
didn't read it. So what was the point? What were they discussing?
Literally
Nothing.
Literally
Look,
nothing.
they're-
They came out. They were like,
Braun
I think,
Strowman. That was the whole point.
yeah, Braun Strowman came out.
So Braun Strowman. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. So the whole thing, it seems like Alexa is between different talk show points. They're introducing Hall of Famers or talking to Hall of Famers. So Alexa had the Bella Twins last week. This week she has the NWO. It seems like next week there might be another moment of bliss with some other,
Yeah,
like maybe
JBL
or
somebody.
Batista or
No,
something.
Batista too busy. He got movies to promote.
That's true, but Dana Brooke, I don't know. You know.
Maybe.
But yeah, and then also just
in Washington, maybe, right?
Yeah, close.
Yeah, that actually works. There you go. But yeah, no, they came out and it was just dumb. Alexa was asking Sean Waltman what they're calling him. Are they calling 6? Are they calling 1, 2, 3 Kid? Are they calling X-Pac? And X-Pac was like, just call me Hall of Famer. I was like, okay.
It fell.
Yeah.
It fell flat. Like
It
he
really did.
It was so flat he had to hype himself up. He said, "Woo!" And then the crowd was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. They did a touch tone where like Alexa asked them like, hey, you guys have faced Goldberg before in WCW. What do you think?
That led me to believe that Goldberg was going to come out and it would be an important
That's
know,
what I
segment.
Something him with Roman or something, and
then
Nash
it's-
said that he called like Roman called him to see how he defeated it, like how it helped in the past. He's like,
With a cattle prodder. That's how we did it.
and
Yeah,
he made that joke.
they said that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
Nash
yeah.
is like,
Okay,
he's
I
like,
should watch
He said,
it.
he's like, I don't know how you're gonna beat him unless you have a Hall and a cattle prod. I was like, oh, they just buried him again.
That's good. See, I gotta watch the segment now.
Yeah.
But it fell flat. It was a
Yeah,
flat segment.
that part was fine. Then Sammy came out, did his normal Sammy stuff, which was
He was
entertaining.
good.
Yeah, that was entertaining.
Sammy
He wanted to
and Scott
get,
Hall were the two best in that whole segment.
yeah, he wanted to scrap with Waltman, and then Braun Strowman came out. He said on Sunday you guys are gonna get these.
Kevin
hands
Nash looks so
because it's too
uninterested.
sweet.
He was like, "What the hell am I doing
End the
here?"
segment. Bad way to start the night. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, let's move on from that. Go ahead, Remy. You got something for us?
I'll just say, you never count on Kevin Nash to put something over.
Oh God, no.
Not even-
No,
not
he
even
was
the segment.
he was
Not even
deadpan.
Punisher
Like,
with Thomas Jane. Not even the Ninja Turtles.
next.
All right. He no-sold the Ninja Turtles. He actually did. That's actually, damn. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he no-sold Leonardo. That's crazy. All right. So, yeah, next segment, we had a rematch. I was going to recap a little bit of last night because there was nothing of note really last night. We had a little rematch of the tag team match between Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Naomi and Lacey Evans, and it was just quicker. It was just a quicker, sloppier version of last week's pretty good match. So that's frustrating. Yeah, that's it. done on that one. And then Bailey, like there was a backstage statement after the match. Bailey just said, "Hey, I'm awesome. I'm everyone's role model." And Sasha's like, you're my role model. I'm gonna dedicate my album to you. So I guess we're getting a Sasha Banks album.
Oh God.
I hope. Yeah,
That'd
he
be
probably
the
won't
only
actually.
saving
Yeah.
grace.
And then so we have Sheamus versus Apollo Crews. Shorty G try to hype up Apollo Crews. One of them is going to turn heel. I'm hoping it's Shorty G because
Who
he's actually
cares?
was heel before, and it probably makes more sense.
Does
Sheamus
anyone at this
squashed
table
him
care?
again?
Show of hands. No hands are being raised.
No, I think this is. This Friday was just like waiting for Sunday to finish so we can start getting on the road.
Well,
to
that's the problem
WrestleMania.
with having
Raw actually seemed decent. Like,
But that's the problem with having a pay-per-view esque, thing on a Thursday afternoon, and then 10 days later you got an actual pay-per-view on a Sunday, and the whole card is full of whatever match. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no world titles being defended. There's nothing at stake. I mean, you got this Shayna Baszler thing going on with Becky Lynch, but
still, though, Raw executed it better. Like Raw's first hour and last hour were better than everything I watched last night. That middle hour sucked. Don't get me wrong. Of Raw, and that's why it should be 2 hours, not 3. But just to keep going on, there was just more like Fire and Desire fought Carmella. They're trying to build that storyline up. Next. Yeah, next. The only two things to know, at least for us, would be we had Jake Maverick. He wanted to wrestle Daniel Bryan, so he went to Gulak and he was like, "Hey man, I think I could beat him if you help me." He's like, "All due respect, Mr. Maverick, you cannot beat him. You're not the one to beat him." He's like, move 107 of his 400 moves or whatever. It's like this bad roundhouse kick, basically led to Daniel Bryan
17B.
challenging for Sunday. So that's going to be prediction my match of the night because I think Gulak and Daniel Bryan in Philadelphia is going to be just something for us. It's for us.
And Gulak is built from Philly, so
Yeah.
he wrestled here. So.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think that's going to be my match of the night when we get to the predictions later on. But Firefly Funhouse, man, I think that was probably the best segment of the night. It was shorter than I would have hoped it was. The whole SmackDown fell short. It actually got cut short, too, at the end. But, yeah, it's basically building up storylines. Bray's the only one who kind of has, like, legacy storylines that it shows, especially with The Fiend. So all his photos in his Firefly Funhouse have been replaced. They're all Cena now. All different Cena. Cena pinning him, Cena beating him, Cena just posing. So it shows like the obsession that Bray Wyatt and The Fiend have with Cena, and he thanked Cena for creating The Fiend. He's like, without that WrestleMania 30 loss, there would be no Fiend now. And that he's angry. Bray Wyatt's happy and forgives him, but The Fiend does not. And he's going to come after him at WrestleMania for, I guess, get back for that win and kind of get him back on track. It seems like Bray Wyatt's telling us what we're all thinking, that Bray Wyatt is going to be back on track after he beats Cena, hopefully, at WrestleMania. And then we just ended it with a tag team gauntlet match. Winner gets,
the last Elimination Chamber
yeah,
spot, right? Yeah,
and it was Ziggler and Rude. Heavy Machinery actually did most of the work. I was actually surprised that they went over with they went over against the New Day. They went over against
everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
They went over that. That was actually really good for me. I enjoyed as a TV match. That was great. You I'm not paying for this. I could just watch it on a Friday night, and you get a
it was a good showcase for them too.
The storyline continues between Otis and Ziggler and Mandy Rose, and like now they're saying
like
Ziggler and
that's
Rose
that's like a C plot that actually shows off a little bit, but the in-ring work that they did, Tucker, I didn't expect all that from Tucker. Tucker is really impressive.
Both
in the
of
ring.
them are great.
I know I've seen like a lot, and I
hate their finishing move.
What is it?
The trash compactor.
I like it.
It's a body slam, but he lays on him.
They feel like they're
him.
from the 90s, but like the good 90s WWE.
Yeah.
And like the move feels from like the 90s, but like good 90s WWE.
Yeah.
Like, where's that? Who was the garbage guy, Mark, in WWE?
Duke the Dumpster Drosy.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Again, I didn't watch a minute of SmackDown. I lied. I watched 30 seconds of SmackDown, and I saw the end of that match between when Ziggler and Rude won the match. And I mentioned it earlier. I see that was their way of getting Otis's team. What the hell are they called again?
Heavy Machinery.
Thank you. I'm sorry. that was the way of getting them over for this match. They're not going to win the titles on Sunday.
No.
But
That's the
they
only
had a
problem
great-
with the gauntlet match is like
Right.
they're not going to win this
But
Sunday.
they had a great
But it was
showing,
cool, yeah.
and they had them beat top teams, so you know that they're players. And that's
Yeah.
all you can really expect. And
I think
ask
we
for.
needed that to be reestablished for them. So that was actually I've come back around. That's
Well,
actually decent.
Would it be crazy if they ended up facing Miz and Morrison in WrestleMania because the crowd loves them? And
No, I
I
don't
mean
think so,
they could make it to the final
I
end.
hope not. I'd love to see the Usos or an established tag team. Let's have established tag team or really over-established tag teams. Usos, New Day,
I'm with my same thought process with Raw. I wouldn't be surprised if both Raw and SmackDown have these like showcase matches where it's like 4 teams versus 4 teams. Like Raw is like a fatal 4-way tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Champions, and same thing with SmackDown. Just I don't see any big storylines other than the Usos and New Day as always, and then now Miz and Morrison are there, so that's good. But yeah, that was all overall for SmackDown. That was not
All right.
much to note.
Yeah, we'll just head on over to this Sunday at Elimination Chamber here in Philly.
Philly.
So we're gonna take a look at this card, and we are going to start with Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. Gentlemen, can I have your predictions for this match?
I'm actually gonna go with Gulak. I think that's fantasy booking in my head. I think I want it so much that it's gonna happen. It's like The Secret. I'm gonna will it into existence. But I want to see Gulak beat DB.
Remy?
One of my favorite things is actually being wrong. I like being wrong because there's often times when I'm wrong, it turns out, things turn out better than I would have hoped. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make my predictions not based on what I think would actually happen, but why you would book this match in the first place. So I would have to say that, Drew Gulak, walks away with the win because otherwise, why are you doing this?
I want to remind you all that this is WWE, and I would bet the house that Daniel Bryan and Daniel Bryan wins. But I think, again, if they do it in a way that can get Drew Gulak more over, I'm okay with it. I don't expect Drew Gulak to win this match, but I think it's going to be a lot more competitive with the storyline.
I'm going to say that Drew Gulak's going to win, but not without interference from Drake Maverick.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't
He
even
wants,
think of
he
that.
wants to show he can, beat Daniel Bryan in a certain way, maybe help him, and that'll extend. But yet again, I'm very cautious because Mark is correct. This is WWE, and Daniel Bryan is not some 2-bit player.
Yeah, that.
I mean, at least according to
He's not Ricochet.
Okay.
he was at they traded him at a point in time.
Fair
B+. So we'll hop over to the WWE United States Championship match. That's a thing. So Andrade versus Humberto Carrillo. Gentlemen, is Humberto going to finally win this match? I feel like the shine is off of Andrade now. I feel like his suspension did him dirty.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Humberto's going to win. I think he's going to win. I think it's a lock. Well, all right, I'm not going to say lock, but for me it is.
Yeah, I would have to say I am wondering if there's going to be a punishment, coming through, for Andrade here. They didn't have him drop the title right away, but I think tonight's a good bet.
I would agree with that. I can see it going either way, maybe having that match at WrestleMania. But I'll call new U.S. champion on Sunday.
I also did not mean to say tonight, sorry. And I want to backpedal. Drulak was an excellent, combination of... I would like to hang on to that. I'm just going to tuck it away. You said Drulak. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that's his new name. That's amazing.
That is a good name. Yeah, I think this is a stone cold lock. I think Humberto is going to win this match. I think, the shine is off Andrade with his suspension, and Vince is known for punishing people when they get suspended. You're costing him time and money. And I could see it being like a fatal 4-way at WrestleMania because I think all 4 of those Spanish wrestlers can go. And I got Angel Garza picked as my guy, really going along with the strap.
It's going to be the Southwestern U.S. Championship.
yeah, I know.
So we're gonna hop over to Aleister Black versus AJ Styles in a no disqualification match. So basically, he's gonna get jumped. Who do you gentlemen think is gonna win this match? There's no. I'm gonna go right off the bat. There's no way AJ Styles loses this match.
Really? Okay. I want to hear from Mark. Yeah.
I say Aleister Black gets his revenge, and I think this is the time that, to touch upon what Carlos said earlier, this is where you pass the torch from The Undertaker. If it was a standard match, I would say there's no way AJ is losing. You have to have him be quote-unquote on fire when he faces Undertaker. But with a no disqualification match, we can get what we should have gotten in Super Showdown, which is the Undertaker gong going off, distracting AJ. Alistair takes advantage, gets the 1-2-3, and then a little bit of payback for Monday Night Raw.
I agree. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with Mark. I think that's what's going to happen. Lights are going to go off. You're going to hear the gong. Philly's going to freak out because it's the Undertaker, and we all love him. And then Alistair's going to hit the black mask out of nowhere. AJ's going to win. And then you're going to hear the gong. Oh, my bad. Yes. Yeah. I apologize. Alistair's going to win. I think we're also going to see lights go out. Alistair's going to go away, and then Undertaker's going to be there. Chokeslam, tombstone. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, I got to agree with Aleister Black on this. No disqualification matches really open things up for this type of interference. And I don't know why you would book this match to bury Aleister Black. It's okay for like AJ Styles to lose this going into his WrestleMania match. Because I think it's likely Undertaker still wins that. Who knows? But it builds a little bit more of an aura surrounding it, as opposed to like AJ seeming like this unstoppable force going in.
Just a quick question to all of us: is AJ one of the few people that could keep losing and still look good in defeat?
Yes.
Yeah. Like who would beat him? All right, Riddick Moss. That would make him look bad. And even that is like, oh, you chipped this silver. That's all.
Yeah, you could throw a broom in there and they pin AJ and he still would look great.
Exactly. All right. So you want to move on?
Yeah, we're gonna move on. I seem like the only person for AJ Styles, so I will be texting you guys on Sunday. The Street Profits having that return match against Seth Rollins and Murphy. I want to call him Buddy Murphy so bad.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're not gonna let go. We're taking it back.
But just to recap real quick, we were talking about this during the Raw segment. I see no reason why the Street Profits would lose here.
No.
I feel like this is a lot.
No, I was gonna say I think they're gonna win. Maybe Kevin Owens comes back out. We know Samoa Joe's not coming out, at least for another 25 days. Or like the Raiders or somebody. And then, again, they're going to win, and maybe we'll build up some kind of storyline where, again, fatal four-way tag match for the Raw Tag Team Champions at WrestleMania. Kickoff show, I'm assuming, which sucks.
I think the result of this match is going to dictate what we see at WrestleMania because Samoa Joe with his 30-day suspension will still be back in time for WrestleMania. So if they have Rollins and Murphy go over here, then I think we see Owens and Joe challenging at WrestleMania. If they do have the Street Profits retain, then we have AOP coming their way at WrestleMania. So I think regardless of who wins this match, we're going to kind of see the direction. And I'm okay with it. I've been enjoying this storyline between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and the Disciple Murphy, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm actually okay with regardless whoever wins this match.
Okay. I was going to say, would you find it surprising that, like, it goes either way?
I don't see them taking the straps after, 6 days?
I've seen worse.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen titles change hands in one night before.
Yeah, true.
So,
true.
But no, I agree. I mean, I gotta say, I think Street Profits win this one. I think it'd be detrimental for them to gain the titles and lose the titles so quickly, both to the the prestige of the titles itself, which I guess in this promotion doesn't matter, and the performers themselves, which also on the main roster really don't seem to matter.
I'm sorry. I know you guys want to move on. I have one more point to make. Again, kind of looking ahead to WrestleMania, we've all kind of said that it could be Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. No titles on the line or whatever, just continuing that feud. My only issue with that would be what do you do with Buddy Murphy? Do you throw him in the Andre the Giant? Like he's going to be cast aside. So that's why I kind of see if they have Rollins and Murphy regain, you're still elevating Buddy Murphy.
That's fair. That's a good point. In my head, I would have him. It wouldn't happen because it's WrestleMania and they wouldn't do a singles match between these two. But I would have Murphy and Samoa Joe because that's I think they could, if they work together. I think that's a classic. I think that would be awesome. Yeah, I want to mention that at the end of the show as breaking news, but well, yeah, we'll finish that after we do our predictions. So, Nick, do you want to continue?
Yeah, we're gonna go over to the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
You think this is the main event? The male Elimination Chamber or female?
No, I think the female will.
Okay.
I think
That's cool.
we're in that era. I think honestly,
It's happened in
this
Philly
card looks
before,
like
right?
this card looks like how it's gonna be. Honestly, this looks like how I would expect the card to come out.
Yeah.
I would expect Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak to be on the pre-show, or Andrade and Humberto.
That's a great opener. I think
Have something
Nick said it, and
unannounced.
now it's true. It's
Have
gonna
something
happen.
unannounced be the opener. You know,
Yeah.
so,
Rick Boss again.
Ricochet. Hey,
So
what if Ricochet just loses but beats the crap out of him, like Remy said?
Maybe, or make him the 24/7 champion. Why not? He got nothing else going on for him.
You guys are missing the point. Next week is St. Patty's Day. Rick O'Shea will get his revenge.
He has been teasing. He's been calling himself Rick O'Shea too.
So let's go to this Elimination Chamber match. We got Miz and Morrison, the champions, versus the New Day, versus the Usos, versus Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, and Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode.
who have the final spot?
They have the
they're
advantage.
final pod opening.
I'm gonna say the Miz and Morrison because they're the new tag team champions, and they're heels. It doesn't seem like they would drop it so quickly.
I like
I
them
know I've
as
said
champions.
that about the last title, but
How would you, before we keep going on, how would you have, because that'll be heel versus heel. Oh, no, not necessarily. I'm sorry, yeah. There could still be other teams, and then the pod opens, and they can come out. I'm sorry. I don't know why I think
it could be something
heel
like
versus
Heavy
heel at the end.
Machinery, goes all the way to the end, and they're against Miz and Morrison, and Dolph Ziggler costs Otis the match because he puts up a picture of him making out with Mandy Rose. It'd be stupid, but Vince.
It's WWE.
Well, I can tell you who's not going to win this match, and that will be Lucha House Party. I'm going to
Ooh,
go.
yeah.
I'm going to go with Miz and Morrison retaining. Like Nick said, I think you have much more better matchups down the road with Miz and Morrison being champions.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree. I think it's going to be Miz and Morrison for the win. I wish Lucha House Party were more of a team just because I'm Puerto Rican and, and say Dorado, but that's it. I'm sorry.
Miras.
Wait, were you yawning? That's how we all feel about.
I
Lucha
didn't
House
mean to
Party.
pee in your Cheerios, by the way. I just
No, it's fine. WWE does that every Friday night for me. Oh no, he's been better. No mention of dog food. Corbin and Elias though, apparently. Who knows? That's Andre the Giant. That's what that is. But yeah, I'm thinking Miz and Morrison for this.
I mean, to get off track for a moment, I think that in the history of the promotion, like you have two, you have two performers, that you could just bunch into the group of Latin America that have ever been taken seriously and treated with respect, and that's Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. And outside of that, no, it's straight up afterthoughts. Unless it's ECW, yeah. So yeah, Ziggler and Rude. I mean, that's a jobber tag team. With all due respect to those guys, Lucha House Party is a jobber tag team. With all due respect to their talent, Heavy Machinery. I don't see the New Day. I think they're still on kind of a losing streak here. I think they'll be entertaining. So I think the Usos and the Miz and Morrison have the best chances of winning here, and I've got to say Miz and Morrison retain.
Seems like a stone cold lock for Miz and Morrison.
Hey ho, hey. Ho, ho. Miz and Morrison.
So we'll switch over to the 3-on-1 handicap match for the WWE Intercontinental title. Braun Strowman versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn. God, how the Intercontinental title has fallen from grace. But Braun Strowman retains.
Yeah, Braun Strowman.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a WWE handicap match. So, the one guy is going to beat the odds of the three guys. And, we've all got this locked for Braun Strowman, but I just want to say how, monumentally upsetting and sad it is to see this on the card. Now, this is a case where, again, I would love to be proven wrong. But it's kind of like we lose no matter what the result is. It's either, Braun Strowman loses and this guy, you take the strap off of him too soon and his credibility is kind of, dwindling again. Or, one, you have Nakamura or Cesaro or Sami Zayn win, which I don't see happening. and you watch these guys get, further buried and drift further down the card, and these are all monumentally talented people. But, most of all, in all of this is Cesaro, and I am livid at just like seeing his position on this card, seeing his position in this promotion.
And I'm going to jump in on that because I see the match going like, first of all, Braun wins, right? He dominates. He pins. I think he pins Sami Zayn. But I think you're going to see, and hopefully, if I was booking this match, I think you would see maybe Cesaro or Shinsuke having a possibility to get a pinfall on Strowman, and maybe having Sami Zayn break it up, which I think would be interesting because it's a 3-on-1. So whoever pins Strowman would be the Intercontinental Champion.
That's fair.
So I think you have Cesaro maybe hit his finishing maneuver, going for the pin, and Sami Zayn's the one that breaks up the pinfall. And that way you can start either a Cesaro face turn or maybe start building him up again. I don't see it happening with Shinsuke or Zayn, but I would like to see that happen.
I while we're speaking, brought up, I saw Cesaro's new shirt, and there's no like impact to the match itself, but I just want to bring up because to kind of go off of Remy. It says the wrestling purist, Cesaro. And this shirt is amazing. How many wrestling fans are going to buy it? A lot, right? But that has no impact to his character, what they're doing with him, anything. This is an amazing design. This is everything that's awesome about this. And it shows who Cesaro is as a character performer and how much we love him. But they do nothing with him constantly. Constantly. His tag team wins with Sheamus and The Bar, good. With Tyson Kidd, good. With Jake Hager, good. Like did he have the Intercontinental title before, right? But we forget.
He's had runs. It's just
Former Paul Heyman guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He just has no character. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing. But
when he became a Paul Heyman guy, that's when I was the most excited. I was like, oh, finally, they care about him.
I only way I see this happening for Sami Zayn and the crew winning this match is if Sheamus comes out and helps them. And like I've been saying for a long time, all four of them just running roughshod because it seems like stables are coming back to WWE. But other than that, I mean, I'm not invested at all.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of roll back, and it's like, I look at people in the past that have had no character, as I guess, this is largely like I think Vince's, perception of Cesaro, but it's like, you have Khali has had a world title, right? Like in WWE, and you've had with no disrespect to him, I wouldn't say that Chris Benoit was the greatest character guy on the face of the planet. He was just an immensely talented in-ring performer that had, a vibe to him. Like, you knew who his character was, even if he wasn't getting a word out of his mouth. And I think that Cesaro, for the longest time, has had every imaginable tool in the world. He puts on matches that steal the show all the time. He has exceptional functional strength. He can go out there and do things that nobody can do. And it's just, I know I'm kind of like, taken over on this, but it's so unbelievably frustrating that he is stuck with this promotion for so long and hung in there and been all over the place for them. And it's just, this is his spot on the card.
So we'll jump ship to the main event.
We're assuming it's the main event.
I'm assuming it's the main event. Natalya versus Liv Morgan, Shayna Baszler, Asuka, Ruby Riott, and Sarah Logan. I mean, this is pretty cut and dry in my books. Shayna Baszler's going to win. But how she wins, that's the question. And I posed that earlier, that Becky Lynch comes out and helps her win just because Becky Lynch is obsessed.
Okay. I like that idea. When you mentioned that, actually, I didn't even think of that angle. I think this is going to be one of those matches where, more so than the men's tag team elimination chamber, we're going to get the most storyline out of. I know we were talking off air about the whole Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, and Ruby Riott thing, but I think this is going to be a good showcase to kind of blow over that whole storyline when whatever's going on with them. Who do you think you see starting, and who do you think you see going the farthest? Because in my mind, it's Natalya, and then Shayna beats her.
Honestly, what I see happening is like I said earlier with Becky Lynch. but the only way that happens is if Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, and Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan all get back together as the Riot Squad and jump Shayna Baszler because she seems like, the dangerous person in the match. And so Becky Lynch is like, well, she's about to be beaten, but I want to beat her. That's just what I'm going with.
It's interesting to see the whole Riot Squad here, too, in this match, which, I was looking over and I hadn't even really thought about. So that leaves, Natalya and Asuka as, sort of the odd ones out. I think Natalya is probably going to go down pretty quickly in this one.
I don't care. This match does nothing for me. Shayna Baszler wins.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. We've talked about it weeks ago when I kind of predicted, or we both predicted that it was going to be Shayna Baszler kind of as a showcase for her, for the overall Raw crowd to be like, hey, this is the next person, this is the next big thing. It's like Ronda Rousey, but even better trained in a wrestling ring.
If I was there live and this was the main event, I would walk out. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. Please don't take this as me furious with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
This match does nothing for me because we all, regardless of if Shayna Baszler wins or not, it's setting up for Becky. I mean, we know what she's doing at WrestleMania, so it doesn't matter. There's no what if or what if this happens.
It's clear cut that Shayna's
clear
winning.
cut.
It's going to be Becky
Right.
Lynch and Shayna
that's
at
why
WrestleMania.
I don't care. And if I was there live, I'd be like, okay, I'm not saying the match would be bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying I know the outcome.
Yeah, I think the only possible storyline, sorry to cut you off,
No.
Nick, is that there's been rumors of the tag team match for WrestleMania, the women's tag team match being Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Natalya and Beth Phoenix. Obviously, Beth is not probably going to be on WWE TV for a little bit, at least on Raw, just until Edge shows up. That whole storyline starts kicking off a little more. But I think we do. I guess we see something with Natalya and Asuka tomorrow night.
Maybe a match.
Like Kairi Sane comes in
on Monday
calls-
night?
No, I mean tomorrow night. Like Kairi Sane somehow sneaks her way into the Elimination Chamber. And that's how Becky would get in. Whatever she does to get into the Chamber match.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shenanigans. I agree with Mark. I'd rather this be the first match on the card because then it gets everyone hype and then you can get through what you got to get through. But
And when's the last time they ended on a tag match? Like a pay-per-view?
it's been a long time.
I'm sure they have, right? They
I
definitely
can't. I can't think of one where it's a tag. But I mean, maybe the Undertaker match with Roman Reigns. That was definitely wasn't that the main event?
No, you know what it was? What you're thinking?
Huh.
It was the same. It was Extreme Rules in Philly, but it was Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans versus
There's your tag match.
Seth and Becky. Well, hey, that ended cool. Well, Baron Corbin hit the end of days on Becky and said, to Seth, what are you going to do about it, you big piece of shit? Because audibly in my household, I freaked out. I was like, oh, my God, did he say that on TV? AEW's right there.
I mean, you guys are talking about tag team main events, and I'm just getting really nostalgic for Teddy Long all of a sudden.
It's a tag team, brother.
You're in a tag team match tonight against The Undertaker.
Well, it seems like that's going to be the main event. They've been pushing this out. It seems like it's on the promos and everything. So it's Stone Cold Lock for Shayna Baszler. This is not going to be a very good pay-per-view. I not to the performers because I'm sure the performers will do their job as always. But from a storyline standpoint,
There's no world titles.
this is a small
Being
bump in the
showcased.
road before WrestleMania.
And what about McIntyre? He's been in Philadelphia this past week.
And the tickets are buy two get one free or something.
Buy
like that.
three, buy
it's
three,
not-
pay, or buy four, you pay for two or some
Yeah,
crap.
it-
I got an email
yeah.
from Wells Fargo about it. I was like, no, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
them fees are still expensive.
Yeah, I think we'll all enjoy this in the comfort of our home, hitting the fast forward button. That seems to be it for me. Anybody got last thoughts they want to add into this for this week in wrestling?
Yeah. So as the Entrance Rant podcast member, my name is Carlos. I am also a member of the Dark Order. I didn't know if I told you guys this.
You did last week, and you tried to make us sign up.
Yes.
No, no one didn't though. No one got the brochure.
No.
Okay.
Goddamn Mormon.
But yeah, recently, as of 3:00 this morning on March 7th, AEW released a tweet, and it says, "Made from the void of hopelessness and from the time spent away from the shadows, this is what it took for me to arrive, the calling. Hello, are you there, ready and waiting? Dark Order welcomes me. You are here." And if you take every letter of those sentences, like every sentence that we said, it spells out Matt Hardy. So what are our thoughts about Matt Hardy showing maybe Wednesday?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, right.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
Yeah, I think this is confirmation he's the Exalted One, I'm assuming.
So I'm going to kind of go a slightly different route on this. And first off, I thought that if Matt Hardy was going to appear, he was going to appear, last Wednesday. And it was good that it was kind of good that he didn't, because that, it kind of allowed that episode to breathe a little bit more than it would have almost had too much going on. They are being so transparent with this at this point, and AEW is so smart that I almost want to think that it's a swerve.
Keep thinking that, Remy. I think he's coming. I think he's coming, and I think he's Dark Order. And there's a thing in this business that I'll say, sometimes you have to give the fans what they want. Doesn't Excalibur say that every time best friends hug?
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So let's give the fans... We want Matt Hardy to be part of Dark Order.
I mean, yeah, I'm fully in on that, and I want it to happen too. I just I don't know when they're gonna pull the trigger. I don't know if they're gonna pull the trigger. It's between Hardy and whatever verbal agreement he has, between the Bucks and AEW and everything else in all of this, they are doing an incredible job at just getting people to talk about this without the slightest bit of ink like hitting paper.
Or you guys have any more comments on this? Because I wanted to end the show with a hot topic as well. It's actually kind of wrestling related, all wrestling related. A tweet came out about 12 hours ago. I don't know if I'm saying this guy's name right. His name's Shans Shanaria. He's a reporter for The Athletic and the New York Times. And he said that the NBA has sent a memo to its franchises explaining that due to the coronavirus outbreak, that teams should be preparing to play games without fans in attendance and identifying essential staff present for these games should it be necessary. Now, they also went on to say that it's not going to be imminent that they're going to do this, but we are here in March 7th. WrestleMania is a month away, where you have people coming from all over the world. Does Vince McMahon dare have a WrestleMania without fans in the stands? I don't think so. I don't think it'll ever happen. But this is a serious issue that, we're in the closing moments of our podcast, so we can't really get too in depth. But, this is a reality that we're facing right now, where this is getting bigger and bigger. And at what point do you say, okay, we need to protect ourselves? And if you're Vince McMahon, we have to protect your employees.
Yeah, I just to kind of piggyback on that, at least we've seen some ramifications with that. The Bella Twins have recently pulled out their WrestleMania Access autograph signing. They are both pregnant, though. That makes sense. I know there's a lot of, what you think about it, whatever. The media hypes up a lot of the coronavirus things. I at least in my opinion, not the opinion of the whole podcast, but I think being safe is not necessarily a wrong thing. I think having contingency plans, we, at least in the gaming world, we recently heard rumors that Los Angeles is in a state of emergency due to the virus. We have a big, as a video game fan, we have a big expo coming up called E3. There's concerns that might be canceled. If that's the case, I mean, we have all these huge companies, Microsoft and all, who usually spend millions of dollars for advertising, pulling out, if that would be the case, or not showing up. What does the ramifications for that in that sense would be? I don't know where the report came from, but there was an interview with Stephanie McMahon. They said they have some kind of contingency plan, or they're working on some kind of contingency plan. Our job normally has there was an email sent out yesterday. There's a contingency plan that they're working on. I don't trust it just because our job, but and things of that nature. But I hope that there's some kind of contingency plan. I don't know what that would be though. How much money does WWE put out in this sense for that? Like, what we also have, there was rumors that Super Showdown they were gonna be stuck there, right, because of quarantine in Saudi Arabia, and I mean, obviously that didn't happen. But what would a contingency plan be? Like, is it still gonna be in this open air arena in Tampa Bay with no fans? What does that look like? What does that sound like? What, not just do Full Sail, right? A closed Full Sail, not necessarily like an open Full Sail, because I don't want that crowd there. No offense to the good fans there, not the fans that are just being marks to be marks.
I'm going to go ahead and say that, like, well, this is Vince McMahon we're talking about here. And, you know, these are in different leagues, don't get me wrong, but you're looking at somebody who went ahead and chose to do business with Saudi Arabia, knowing full well that, you know, the diplomat like Jamal Khashoggi had been murdered there. Like, and this was a state-ordered execution of a diplomat. And his call against the urges of nearly everybody. I mean, you had people in modern American politics, I think it's very hard to find this kind of unity, where you had people on the left and right that are like, dude, don't do business with these guys. Like, don't do this.
And Vince McMahon also continued the show when Owen Hart died. So, like, again, I'm not saying that the show won't go on. I'm just saying, at what point does WWE take a stand?
Yeah, I mean, and that is his mantra too. Like, I think probably above all else is the show must go on.
Yeah, there's no way he stops people from coming to WrestleMania. He'll probably cut down on like the signings and everything like that. Like, hey, maybe we won't sign as many, you know, autographs as we should this year, but we're just being cautious.
I mean, that whole weekend, because of WrestleMania, now all the companies come in. We have like GCW, we have all these other like independent promotions that do WrestleCade? Is that what it's called? The big like showcase and signings and things like that.
Everyone's going to lose money on all this. And I mean, the only people that aren't losing money right now is the people who invested in hand sanitizer and people who invested in the face mask. Damn, why did I not invest?
No, I like I said, being overtly cautious or being even moderately cautious is fine for this, what's going on in the world. I just don't trust that WWE will do something that is not respectfully, like, as a joke, but also in my head, I could totally see Vince McMahon in a hazmat suit, and while Ricochet is in shorts and no shirt, be like, hey man, go kill it out there, have fun. And he's like, is that wrong? No, nothing's wrong. I'm gonna leave in my private jet though.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about that.
Well, then I guess on that note, we thank you all for listening. For Carlos, Nick, and Remy, I am Mark, and we will see you next time on The Entrance Ramp. Goodbye, everybody.
Adios.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Entrance Ramp Podcast. Please like us on Facebook at the Entrance Ramp Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at the Entrance Ramp Pod, and subscribe to us on YouTube by searching for the Entrance Ramp Podcast. We'll see you next time.